In Arthurian legend, Sir Bedivere is the Knight of the Round Table who returns Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake. He serves as King Arthur's marshal and is frequently associated with Sir Kay.Sir Lucan is his brother and Sir Griflet is his cousin. Role in Welsh tradition. Bedivere is one of the earliest characters to be associated with the Arthurian cycle, appearing in a number of early Welsh texts in which he is described as Bedwere Bedrident, a handsome, one-handed knight under Arthur's command. His father is given as Pedrawd Bedrawd, and his children as Amaran and Enuorg, both members of Arthur's court. One of the earliest direct references to Bedwere can be found in the 10th century poem Pargo, which recounts the exploits of a number of Arthur's knights, including Bedwere, Kay and Manawydan. Of Bedwere, the narrative says, "They fell by the 100 before Bedwere of the perfect sinew. On the shores of Truvwood fighting with Garwood, furious was his nature with sword and shield." A 9th century version of the stanzas of the Graves gives Bedware's final resting place on Truvan Hill. In the life of Saint Cadog, Bedwere is alongside Arthur and Kay in dealing with King Gwyntlew of Gwilg's abduction of Saint Galadus from her father's court in Brackenhog. A possible allusion to Bedwere could be found in the reference to Bedware's well in the 9th century Maran ad Cadwallon ap Cadfan. The Welsh triads name Bedwere as battle diademed, and is superior to Dristan, Hwyl Mabcor and even Kay. A catchphrase often quipped by Kay, "by the hand of my friend," is likely a reference to Bedware's disability. The winning of Olwen. Bedwere is a prominent character in the tale of Culhwch Olwen, in which he appears at the head of Arthur's court list with his friend Kay and is described as the handsomest man in the world, and the wielder of a magic lance. He is called upon to accompany Culhwch on his quest to win Olwen's hand in marriage, and is the first knight to strike the giant Ysbaddaden with the poisoned spear meant for Culhwch. He goes on to assist Culhwch in completing the impossible tasks given to him by Ysbaddaden. He helps Kay and Go kill Wrnach the giant, rescues Mabon ap Modron from his imprisonment, retrieves the hairs of Dilys the Bearded, captures the Cauldron of Devenick during Arthur's attack on Ireland and takes part in the hunting of Twrch with Arthur's dog Cavil at his side. The tale ends with the completion of the tasks, the humiliation and murder of Ysbaddaden, and the marriage of Culhwch and Olwen. Geoffrey of Monmouth and later tradition. He is one of Arthur's loyal allies in Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britanniae, and maintains this position in much late Arthurian literature. He helps Arthur and Kay fight the giant of Mont Saint Michel, and joins Arthur in his war against Emperor Lucius of Rome. In several English versions of Arthur's death, including Malory's La Morte d'Arthur, the alliterative Morte Arthur and the stanzaic Morte Arthur, Bedivere and Arthur are among the few survivors of the Battle of Camlan. After the battle, at the request of the mortally wounded king, Bedivere throws Excalibur back to the Lady of the Lake. However, he does this only after twice thinking the sword too valuable to Britain to throw into the water. When he reports that nothing in particular happened, King Arthur admonishes him, for Arthur knows that the mystical sword would create some supernatural event. Finally, Sir Bedivere casts the sword into the water, at which her hand arises and catches the sword mid-air, then sinks into the waters. Arthur is thus assured that the sword has been returned. Upon the death of Arthur, Bedivere enters a hermitage where he spends the remainder of his life. It is implied that both King Arthur and Queen Guinevere lie beside each other in and near this hermitage. Modern depictions. Bedivere is depicted by modern authors such as Rosemary Sutcliffe, Gillian Bradshaw, John M. Ford and Mary Stuart, where he is given Lancelot's traditional role as Guinevere's lover, Lancelot having been added to the cycle too late to seem historical. Bedivere also appears as main character in the novel Grailblazers by Tom Hole, but though he plays a minor part in Bernard Cornwell's The Warlord Chronicles, many of his legendary deeds are carried out instead by the protagonist, Philcadon. In the 1975 spoof Monty Python and the Holy Grail, he appears as Sir Bedivere the Wise. He also had a part in the Broadway musical adaptation, Spamalot. He was also included in the Japanese visual novel, Fate Stay Night, assisting Saber alias Arthurian Pendragon in her last moments and then throwing Excalibur into the lake at the end.